Currently, we have 8 planets in our solar system: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Each planet has a different distance from the Sun, which is recorded in AU, which is astronomical unit. An astronomical unit is the unit of length that is roughly the mean of Earth to Sun distance. Each planet has a different mass Earth and diameter Earth. Some planets have rings, and most of them have a different number of moons. Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun. It has no rings, which means it's terrestrial, and it has no moons. Mercury has large cliffs and has no atmosphere. Mercury was the god of trade, merchants, thieves, and travelers. He's represented wearing winged sandals and a staff with 2 snakes. He shows the way for the dead souls to Pluto's realm. Venus has no rings and no moons and is terrestrial. Venus has volcanoes and a very rocky surface, and the atmosphere is very thick and hot. Venus is named after the Roman goddess of love and beauty. In the Roman culture, Venus was also a figure of the Romans' mother, and she's the daughter of Zeus and Dione. Mars has no rings as well, has 2 moons, and is terrestrial. It has an Earth-like environment and a thin atmosphere. Mars got its name from the Roman god Mars, who was the god of war. War relates to the color red, and the surface of Mars is red due to the large amounts of iron found on the planet. Jupiter, on the other hand, does have rings, and this makes it a Jovian. Jupiter has 63 moons and a very thick atmosphere. It also mainly consists of gas. Jupiter is king of gods of the sky and thunder, or also known as Zeus. He's the son of Saturn, and his brothers are Neptune and Pluto. He is also the husband of Juno. Saturn does have rings and is a Jovian, but it only has 31 moons, has a very thick atmosphere as well, and is mainly gas. Saturn's Greek name is Kronos, and he is the god of agriculture, liberation, and time. Kronos ate 5 of his children because one of his sons was destined to slay him. Zeus was the only surviving child. Uranus also has rings and is a Jovian. It only has 26 moons, has a thick atmosphere, but it is mainly gas and has a rocky core. Uranus is the primary Greek god of the sky or heaven. He is known as Father Sky and was the son of Mother Earth. Conceived by Gaia alone, but his father is Ether. Neptune is the farthest planet away from the Sun. It has 13 moons. It does have rings, which makes it a Jovian. It has a thick atmosphere and a rocky core and is mainly gas. Neptune was the Roman god of water and the sea, or also known as Poseidon. Neptune was the brother of Jupiter and Pluto. His mom was Rhea, and his dad was Cronus. The 4 inner planets, which are Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, are primarily composed of metal and rocks. The 4 outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, are more massive than the terrestrials and are called gas giants. Jupiter and Saturn are 2 largest planets and are mainly composed of hydrogen and helium. Uranus and Neptune are 2 outermost planets and are composed largely of ices, such as water, methane, and ammonia. They are known as ice giants. All planets in the solar system move around the Sun in an elliptical orbit with the Sun at one focus. All planets' orbits are nearly circular except for Mercury. Their orbits are more or less in the same plane called the elliptic plane. The elliptic plane is inclined at 7 degrees from the Sun's equator plane. Pluto usually orbits beyond the orbit of Neptune. It is much smaller than any of the official planets and now is classified as a dwarf planet. Pluto is smaller than the 7 of the solar system's moons. After the discovery of Pluto, it was quickly determined that Pluto was too small to account for the discrepancies in the orbit of the other planets. The search for Planet X continued, but nothing was found, nor is it likely that it will ever be. The discrepancies vanish if the mass of Neptune determined from the Voyager 2 encounter with Neptune is used. There is no Planet X, but that doesn't mean there aren't other objects out there, only that there isn't a relatively large and close one like Planet X we assume to be. In fact, we now know that there are a very large number of small objects in the Kuiper Belt, beyond the orbit of Neptune, and some are roughly the same size as Pluto. Pluto's composition is unknown, but its density indicates that it is probably a mixture of 70% rock and 30% water ice. The bright areas of the surface seem to be covered with ices of nitrogen with smaller amounts of methane, ethane, and carbon monoxide. In Roman mythology, Pluto, also known as Hades, is the god of the underworld. Being the god of the underworld, Hades was ruler of the dead. A dwarf planet is any celestial body within the solar system. A dwarf planet revolves around the Sun and resembles a small planet but lacks certain technical criteria that are required for it to be classified as such. Some dwarf planets are so small that they are also classified as asteroids.